Hi everyone, welcome back to another review. Today we have the XM Studios Miss Marvel. I think you enjoyed this one. This is one of my favorite pieces so far. And so hang on. But before we proceed, let's go back to the beginning and we'll see the initial semi-unboxing. Okay, so stay tuned. Alright, so we've got the standard hard cardboard box, corner protection, and then a little bit about the product. And we spin this around. Got a little backstory on Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. Okay. And once we spin this, and of course, Standard Studios sound of quality right there. Sound of quality. Okay, so we're gonna lift this up, and then I'll show you. I think it only comes in one layer. Okay. Okay, with the top open, like I said, it's just one layer. Everything's in here. The box is pretty compact. It's a little bit over 20 pounds, so it's not too bad. Okay, and as standard, we have the registration card. You can do that online. Diagram of where the parts go. Of course, the print and the jacket. Okay, so let's get this thing started. Okay, so we have the base. It looks like it's part of a tank that got dismantled, and you can see the tread there. Okay, and then we'll attach a bunch of stuff. Some form of green tank, and then let me see, that's about it. I don't know, of course, that's metal like Wolverine's base. And this one is 700 edition size instead of the standard 999 max out. I don't think this was very popular, so they reduced it down to 700. But I like it. So let's put this Miss Marvel on. Now we're going to attach the tread. It's no magnet, it's just a peg. Okay, so we're going to put it right in. Where's that hole? There we go. Okay, so that's what we have. Okay, so Miss Marvel just dismantle part of the tank, and then right there, and then this is gonna be one pegger. Okay, so we'll get Miss Marvel on. Okay, so we have the body on. As you can see, I wouldn't worry about the leaning issues too much because XM says that when they have something like this or black bolt, the rod's gonna run all the way up to the hip. Okay. So that's pretty cool, right? Looks like she's gonna take off. And then let me see. Oh, and this statue is pretty light. The overall package is around just around 24 pounds. So if you take out, boy, the packaging is probably 6-7 pounds. It's not bad. You've got like 15 pounds left. And I think when I knocked on the statue, it looks like this top portion may be hollow. And then that's solid right here, and probably this leg in order to accommodate the rod. Okay, so let's attach the arm and the two heads. I've got the arm in. You will see there's a noticeable gap right here on the arm, and I had to shove it in tight in order to minimize that gap, and it's still showing. There isn't much that can be done because if you see the back, that's just fitted in. Okay, like this one. So you can't shove it in anymore. What you may have to do is might have to sand down the inner arm a little bit in order to have it a better fit. The problem might be that the arm might fall over because although there's a magnet, you want some friction to hold it, but that gap is I guess noticeable right there. Okay, so we'll get the head on, or one of the heads anyway. This one comes with two. Before we attach the head, we have to attach the scarf. It's just got a little bit, oops, sorry, magnet right there. And what we're going to do is just attach it in there. Okay, so that's what we've got. Now let's get to the head. The first head we're looking at is the short head. As you can see, not short, yeah, short head. I guess you can call that medium short, not quite really short. Okay, so magnet. And we're just going to plop this thing in here. Look at that, pretty strong magnet. It's nice. It's a nice fit there. Okay, and then let me give you a 360 look at this, and then we'll switch out to the long head, which is the one that I prefer. Oh wait, before we do that, that's what we've got. Close in, very nice. Nice and clean lines, okay? Okay, let's do the 360 with the short head, okay? So we'll go this way. So you can see the tank tread is pretty nicely done. And we'll go back the other way, okay? Okay, I've got my preferred head, the long head version. So we'll give you a 360 with that one, and then we'll do a zoom in. So this resembles, I guess, the comic book more, at least the recent ones. We'll go back the other way. Okay, so let's get a zoom in, and then we'll go to the final scorecard. Now we're going to have a closer look at Miss Marvel's face. As you can see, it's pretty well done. She's a pretty face. Not bad, right? The hair's done well. I like the long hair version. Short hair is okay. Don't recall her having that kind of short hair. Maybe that was before my time. But as you can see right there, very well done. Okay, and then she's sporting the thigh-high boots this time. Oops. And this is the other head. So we'll put this back in the box later. This probably never gonna see the light of day, unfortunately. Okay. And as you can see, it's a pretty nicely done piece. I just bought this piece because I didn't have a Miss Marvel yet, and I didn't get the sideshow one because that's kind of boring pose for me. So, but surprisingly, when I got this piece, I really like it. I think I like it more than the Thanos. So, yeah, although it's not very popular, I think it's very well done. Okay, so let's go to the scorecard. The first category we have is sculpting. This sculpt is pretty nice, as you can see. When you look at it, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So other than, I always have a problem with this. How come all of the females have either really high heels or they have platform-like shoes? I guess for Miss Marvel it could work because most of her, I guess, battle and travel are through flight instead of running, walking. So let's just say Elektra shouldn't have high heels because she's a ninja. So high heels and ninjas don't mix. But for Miss Marvel or even Wonder Woman, it could work because Miss Marvel can fly and everything. Okay. So let me see. So for the sculpting, I would have to give this a 9 out of 10. It's a good sculpt, but I wonder if they could have made, her, as you can see, she's got the vertical takeoff. Maybe if they made it, this way, some more, it would be cool. But then you'd have a nightmare with leaning, possibly. So I guess that's why they didn't do it. So 9 out of 10. It's a good sculpt. I would have preferred a different, costume than this, but we'll get to that. Okay. So our next category we have is fit and finish. This is a mixed bag for me because although this is an XM production, it's supposed to be at least a 9 out of 10 for fit and finish. But there are a couple of issues here that keeps it from, excuse me, getting a 9. For one, as you can see, I don't know if it will pick up on the camera, but there's a gap right there, as I have mentioned before, and it is much worse than this. It's just that it took me some time to actually shove it in there, and I don't know if it's a conscious design, because if they make it easy snap-on, like when you look at some other statue, the magnet's holding it, because the arm is coming out like this. Over time, I can see the magnet losing its power. And then because this has friction plus the magnet, it actually works out better. So I like to believe that, but this gap is way too big, as you can see. So, but the back is not bad. It's got some, but then you go over to the other side, which you can't see, of course. Let me flip it back. So this is a stationary one, the right arm. So the gap should be no bigger than that, but as you can see, it is. Okay, and I don't know if other Miss Marvels, other people's pieces have this gap. But I think it's overall it's a little bit fit, like the Thanos one. But I guess you can always sand it down some, the inner, and then it'll fit better. Okay. And then the other thing is, I noticed the paint lines are pretty clean, other than this. You got a little bit of a overspray right here. So other than that, fit and finish is good. So for the score, I would have to give this a 7 out of 10. Normally XM is very good in the paint app, and there's nothing wrong with this paint app, as you can see. Although the only thing is with the tread, it's supposed to be what, metal, right? Unless they're going with some alloy or something. This should have been painted maybe metallic paint, some form of metallic paint, to show it to be more metallic. But as you can see, it's okay. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in real life, it doesn't look as realistic as say if it was painted metal. Okay. So other than that, not really much of a complaint, other than that gap. So we'll give this a 7 out of 10 for fit and finish. So our next category is going to be art direction. This one, it's good. It shows Miss Marvel just dismantling a tank, and then she's just taking off. So that captures the essence of Miss Marvel. So nothing wrong with this direction. Although I would have liked a little bit better, we'll get to an accessories part, but more details. But that's okay. Art direction, just a generic taking off in flight pose. So we'll give this a 9 out of 10. Although it's generic, it represents Miss Marvel well enough that there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, so nothing else you say. Nothing genius like Magneto or anything like that. Nothing representative of Miss Marvel fighting some arch nemesis or anything like that. Okay, so our next category we have is source material. This is a mixed bag for me, just because as you can see the design. At one time, I guess in the 70s or 80s or whatever, Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers did sport a costume somewhat reminiscent of this, with the star. The only thing is, this is supposed to be a Carol Danvers version based on the box. But if you've read the Dark Avengers and some of the recent offerings, I guess back 5 years ago, This is more reminiscent of Carla Sofin, okay, aka Moonstone, when she took over for Miss Marvel with the Dark Avengers and all of the bad guys pretending to be good guys. Um, so when you look at this, it's more like Moonstone, instead of Carol Danvers. It's like the XM mixed in two style. Okay, so you got the long boots, right? Thigh-high boots from the black costume. So when you think of Miss Marvel, you think of the overall black costume with the lightning bolt, down the middle, and then she's got the high thigh boots. In the comic books, this is like a mix. With this costume, the boots should have been, maybe calf high, somewhere there. So they sort of mix the two elements. So you can say that this style isn't really, true to the source. This is really a creative interpretation by XM Studios. So in that sense, you're not gonna get anything, close to the comic book. And plus, I think they made the stars a little bit too big, right there, and too pronounced. I mean, come on, Miss Marvel's got nice assets, you know what I mean. So that star sort of distracts it. Should have been less pronounced, or should have been, smaller. Okay, so it sort of distracts it, like Jean Grey Phoenix with the big bird. And this costume has enough going for it that you don't really need the big old star. Okay, so for source material, this is a mishmash of two style. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, just because it's got the top portion is reminiscent of a costume that Miss Marvel wore, but the thigh-high boots, it's not with this costume. And this is more of a Carla Sofin Moonstone when she took over as Miss Marvel on one of the runs. So if you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend you read that, and then read Marvel versus no Battle of the Marvels, where Carol Danvers and Carla Sofin fights it out for the title of Miss Marvel. So it's a good read if you can pick that up in trade paperbacks. Okay. So we said 7. Okay, with our last category, we're gonna go with accessories. Okay, so this one you only really have two: switch out head, that one, and of course the long head version. So let me put the short head on just for you guys. I do prefer the long head one because it's more reminiscent of the comic book. That's why I think of when I think of Miss Marvel was the long head one, and long head is usually sexier. But that's not bad, right? So that's the short hair. And then okay, so we've got accessories. So with this one, it's kind of paltry compared to what you would get, with other XM Studio statues. Accessories isn't just about switching out parts. The more parts you have, the higher the score. But it's also about the base. This is, I guess, a thematic base. But when you think of Miss Marvel, there isn't any theme. It's not like Jean Grey with the Phoenix. That's right up the alley there. And then with the XM Studios Magneto with the Sentinel hands, genius as always. So other than that, Miss Marvel, after fighting, I guess, some tanks, and that's kind of thematic, but not great. And the base is pretty compact, so you can definitely display this in a smaller, I guess, display case. So for accessory wise, we'll go average being what, like I won't go lower than a 6, depending on the style. This one I will give it a, let's see, 2 heads. With that, we'll call it a 7.5, almost 8. Just because 2 heads, that's what you expect from XM now, multiple switch out heads. Miss Marvel doesn't really have any other switch out parts, and the bass is okay, not great. It's like a generic rock bass, but it's nicer. It's nicely done. Okay, so with that, we'll go to the final um, score. With this is not an average; it's just a final overall score. With this piece, I really like it because it just looks cool, and I think this is the best one so far. Looks like she's in a semi-action pose, taking off. The only thing better is if she was leaning forward a little bit more. As you can see, she's like going up. So if you're going like maybe up at an angle, it would be better. But like I said, it would be a nightmare trying to do the rods and everything. So with that, sorry. Other than that, let me see. And the gap here, it just bothers me a little bit. And this is like, I hope it's not a pattern because with my Thanos on my last review, you did see the gap in the back where his lats is. And then now I have a gap here. So the fit and finish isn't, it hasn't been great, at least not on these two recent editions. I do have Black Bolt, it just got delivered. So we'll do a review and we'll see what kind of gaps it has. But overall, I would give this a say an 8 out of 10, just because it's well done. But there's a couple things that keeps it from getting. Ooh, that's a pretty strong magnet. From getting a perfect score. One of the reasons is that I have the big gap here. There's just a slight paint overspray right there, and there isn't a lot of switch out parts. And the costume, although it is very nice if you just take this as it is, without realizing the black and gold lightning costume. This thing is done very well, but I would have preferred the gold and black costume, but that's what it is. And when I purchased this, I knew that's what I was getting. Okay, but still, this is a mishmash of two different costumes, and I think this is more of the Moonstone or Color Sophin version. Um, it's more accurate to that than Carol Danvers. I thought the box is Carol Danvers, but who knows? Maybe with the Miss Marvel um, movie that's allegedly coming out, maybe they'll integrate this costume, and then this piece will be really popular. But other than that, 8 out of 10 is not bad. I really liked it. Like I said, I like this more than the Thanos. Um, Thanos sort of disappointed me. This one is a surprise. So overall it's good. If you can pick it up, I think there are like many retailers that still has this in stock. Oh, and one more thing. I know there are some complaints on the forums that Miss Marvel with these two heads, as you can see, they lack emotions. It's like she's staring blankly out in space. That's a legitimate claim. I can see where people like a little bit, more emotion, as you can see the face. Now, I like to think about it this way. Maybe she's just done dismantling some tanks or whatever, and she's just thinking about the next thing, next goal to go after. So, not every scope, head scope, you're gonna have emotion. Like it doesn't have to be a screaming head or an angry head or whatever. Okay, you can have something like this, like she's contemplating. Think of it as contemplating her next moves. Okay, so in essence, that's it's okay. But given that you get two heads, at least they could have made one with the angry or whatever more emotional heads. And the thing is, if you have some skills, you can actually turn one of these. These are just pretty heads. You can turn one of these into an angry heads or more emotional. As you can see, the eyebrows right there. If you make it like up more, you can turn it somewhat a little bit more emotional. Okay, so but the lips isn't going to help you much. Okay, so other than that, I don't have an issue with it. I like to think of it as being more contemplating her next moves. Okay, so if this, my perfect Miss Marvel would be the black and the lightning costume with her leaning toward, for more, maybe 30 degrees more that way. This one will give you, the straight up. Okay, but then again, the leaning issue would come in, and then now you have complaints about that. And then, the gap, other than that. Okay, so overall score 8 out of 10. Not bad. I really like it. The score does not always indicate, if the piece is done well or not. It's just that when you take it as a whole, that's what it is. But I highly recommend this one. Okay, so thank you for watching and stay tuned. I think Black Bolt should be coming up next. So you enjoyed that one. Okay, thanks for watching and see you next time.